All right, today we're going to do something a little different. A bit of linguistic forensics. We're taking one single ancient proverb and we're going to put it right under the microscope. And what we're going to find is this timeless little two-act play about human psychology, about negotiation, really about the art of the deal. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so here it is. At first glance, you might think, okay, pretty simple, right? Maybe even a little old-fashioned. A buyer complains about how bad something is, but then later on he's bragging about it. But, and this is the key, the real genius here is buried in the original language. It's all about the specific words they chose to tell this tiny little story.
So, what is the hidden strategy behind these words? That's the big question for us today. Because this proverb, it's not just some casual observation. Oh no, it is a masterclass in manipulation. And believe me, every single word is a clue. So, let's break it down. How is this little drama actually put together?
All right, let's get into Act 1, the performance. The proverb sets the scene just perfectly here. It frames the negotiation not as just, a simple transaction. It's presenting it as a carefully staged performance. This is the part everyone sees, the public-facing bit of the deal.
So the buyer's opening line, it isn't just, hey, this is bad. No, in the original, it's rah, rah, bad, bad. You can almost hear him saying it, right? And that repetition? It's not a calm assessment of quality. It's a rhetorical weapon. That emphatic doubling is designed to apply pressure, boom, right from the get-go. It's all about creating a manipulative first impression.
And get this, the verb they use here is yomar. Now, in the original Hebrew, the grammar of this word is really interesting. It suggests a habitual, ongoing action. So it's not just that he says it once. It's more like he keeps saying it. And what does that tell us? It tells us the buyer's complaint isn't some spontaneous, off-the-cuff reaction. Nope. This is a practice technique. It's a go-to move in his bargaining toolkit.
And here's another super smart detail. The proverb doesn't say, a man named Bob did this. It uses the generic term hakone, which just means the buyer. And that is a very deliberate choice. By labeling him with his role, the proverb makes its lesson totally universal. This isn't a story about one specific guy. It's about a type of behavior you can find in any market, in any time period. It could be happening right now.
Okay, so let's recap Act 1. What we have is a clear three-part strategy. First, the buyer emphatically devalues the product. Bad, bad. Second, he does it with a practiced, repeated line. And third, he does it all while hiding behind this anonymous mask of just being the buyer. The stage is totally set and the seller is already on their back foot.
And just like that, the performance is over, the deal is done. And now, the proverb gives us this brilliant little physical clue that everything is about to shift. You really got to pay attention to the action words coming up.
The buyer veozel. He doesn't just walk away, he goes away briskly. It's a quick exit, right? Almost like he's scurrying off. And this swift departure, that's our first big signal that his whole public song and dance was just that, a performance. He got what he wanted, he secured the prize, and now he's making a hasty retreat before anyone can have second thoughts.
Now this is so cool. Hidden in the text is this tiny, tiny but incredibly powerful word, lo. All it means is for himself. Now grammatically, this is something called an ethical dative, and it's just brilliant. Think of it like a little arrow. It points the motive for the entire deal directly at the buyer's own self-interest. He went away briskly. Why? For himself, for his own benefit.
And then we get to this one word, as. It just means then. That's it. But in this story, it's everything. This is the pivot point. It's the hinge that the entire proverb swings on. Everything that came before this word was the public performance. Everything that comes after it is going to be the private truth. It's like the curtain falling on Act 1.
So with that pivot, bam, we are into Act 2, the boast. The buyer's off stage now. He's away from the seller. And with no one left to perform for, his real feelings, they just come pouring out.
And look at this, it is a complete 180. His public declaration was bad, bad, but his private reaction? To boast. The contrast here could not be more stark. The two-faced nature of the whole thing is just laid bare. But what does it actually mean to boast in this context? Well, the original language gives us one last, absolutely perfect clue.
Okay, linguistics nerds, you're going to love this. The word for boast is yithalal. The root of the word just means to praise, simple enough, but it's used in this special grammatical form, the hitpa'el, which is reflexive. That means it turns the action of the verb back onto the person doing it. So he isn't just praising the item he bought, he is literally praising himself. He's patting himself on the back, celebrating how clever he was to get such a good deal. That feeling of inward triumph is baked right into the grammar. How cool is that?
So let's step back and look at the whole thing. When you put all these pieces together, you realize this proverb isn't just some quaint observation. It's an incredibly sophisticated piece of communication. It's using all these specific rhetorical tools to tell a really compelling story.
Think about it. It uses that emphatic repetition, bad, bad, to show manipulation. It uses generalizing language, the buyer, to make the lesson universal for all of us. It has that killer dramatic pivot word, then, to signal the big turn. It even uses a physical action, the brisk exit, as a clue. And then the final knockout punch. It delivers the big psychological reveal through the grammar of a single word. It's a complete two-act play, packed into just a handful of words. Amazing.
You know, this whole anatomy of a deal, this deep dive into the psychology of a negotiation, it's thousands of years old, but it feels like it could have been written yesterday. It's so modern. And that leaves us with a pretty big question, one for you to think about. Where do you see these same ancient tricks, the public performance, the quick getaway, and the private boast, playing out in the world around you today?